Are we aliens?
Yeah.
Okay, I know you're thinking right.
Yeah.
Little green men, flying saucers, that whole thing.
Yeah, the classic image.
But what if it's, like, a much deeper question?
Oh, absolutely.
We're diving into this lecture outline today, and it really blends science and, like, spiritual stuff.
It gets pretty deep, yeah.
It's going to be thought-provoking, for sure. So get ready.
What's so fascinating about this whole alien thing is that the word itself, it's got so many layers, you know?
Right.
Obviously, there's a whole extraterrestrial angle.
Like, are we alone in the universe?
Exactly. But then it can also describe anything that feels foreign or out of place, even right here on Earth.
Oh, that's such a good point. And this lecture outline, it really does cover all those different angles.
It does.
It starts off looking at the search for life beyond Earth.
Right.
So you've got SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. They're listening for signals from other civilizations.
Yeah, hoping to pick up a radio wave or something like that.
Exactly. And then there are the Mars rovers, right? Looking for signs of ancient life.
It's like a whole detective story on another planet.
It is. And then we're discovering all these exoplanets, too.
Oh, yeah, planets outside our solar system.
Some of them could actually be habitable.
Potentially. Which is just, I mean, when you think about the scale of the universe,
Mind-boggling.
trillions of stars.
And each one could have its own planets.
It makes the idea of us being completely alone seem, well, a little improbable.
Totally. It's like Carl Sagan said, right? If it's just us, seems like an awful waste of space.
Such a great quote. And it really makes you wonder, what exactly are scientists looking for out there?
Yeah, what would be the smoking gun, so to speak?
They're looking for any indication of life, really.
Any at all?
Even just microbial life.
Wow. So like tiny little bacteria?
Exactly. Things like, you know, specific chemical signatures in a planet's atmosphere, evidence of liquid water, those kinds of things.
So even those tiny microbes, they could be a sign of something much bigger, right? Like a whole ecosystem we haven't even imagined yet.
Exactly. It could be the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, but what about feeling alien right here on Earth? The lecture outline gets into that too.
It does. It's funny because if you think about those early explorers setting foot on new continents,
Right.
they were basically aliens to the people they encountered.
With the different languages and customs.
Totally. Unfamiliar in every way.
Oh, I've definitely felt like an alien when I've traveled to places where I don't speak the language. Like you're constantly second-guessing yourself, trying to figure things out.
Oh, I know that feeling. It's
Yeah.
like you're always one step behind.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
that total fish out of water feeling. And the outline, it suggests that this otherness, it might not just be about cultural experiences.
Right.
It could be woven into our very origins.
It's a fascinating thought.
Whoa, okay, now we're getting into some deep stuff. What do you mean by that?
Well, there's this theory called panspermia.
Panspermia.
It proposes that life on Earth actually originated somewhere else in the universe.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, like maybe microbes hitched a ride on a comet or an asteroid billions of years ago, and that's how life got started here.
Okay, that is wild. So are you saying we could all be descendants of space travelers? That's like something out of a science fiction movie.
I know, right? It sounds far-fetched, but there is some, intriguing evidence out there.
Really? Like what?
Well, scientists have found organic molecules like the building blocks of life in meteorites.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing. So it's not totally impossible then. But if that's true, I mean, what does that even mean for us? For what it means to be human?
It's a huge question, right? It really challenges everything we think we know about where we come from.
And where we belong.
Exactly. Are we Earthlings? Are we aliens? Maybe a bit of both.
It's like our definition of home just exploded.
Yeah.
It's not just this planet anymore, it's the entire cosmos. But even if life didn't start in space, we still have that feeling of being alien, even here at home.
That's true. And that's where things get really interesting because the outline, it explores the idea that maybe this feeling of being out of place, of searching for something more, maybe it's actually a spiritual thing.
So it's not just about physical location, but something deeper.
Exactly. Something that resonates on a soul level.
Interesting.
There are even biblical texts that refer to humans as aliens or sojourners in this world.
Really?
Yeah. It's suggesting that our true home lies somewhere else.
So maybe
Mm-hmm.
this feeling of not quite belonging, of yearning for something more.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. Maybe it's actually pointing us towards a higher purpose, something beyond just our earthly existence.
It's a different way of looking at it, for sure. It invites us to consider what truly matters, what gives our lives meaning.
And what connects us to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly.
This is getting pretty deep.
It is.
But I have to say, I'm really enjoying this. It's making me think about all those times I felt lost, like I didn't fit in.
We all have those moments.
Maybe those experiences were actually guiding me towards something greater, even if it didn't feel like it at the time.
That's a really interesting thought, because often it's those times of discomfort, those times when we feel like an outsider.
Yeah.
That's when we really grow, when we evolve, when we discover new perspectives.
It's like being an alien can actually be a catalyst for self-discovery,
Absolutely.
for finding our true place in the universe, even if it takes a lifetime.
It's a journey.
It is. So, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the search for extraterrestrial life, the feeling of being alien, even here on our own planet,
Yeah.
and this whole spiritual concept of searching for something more.
It's a lot to take in. What stands out to you the most so far?
It's crazy how this idea of being an alien can apply to so many different parts of life. We've talked about the actual search for aliens and then feeling like an outsider right here on Earth. And then that whole spiritual side of it too.
Yeah, it's like all these different threads weaving together, right? Makes you think.
It does. It's not just about little green men anymore. It's about that feeling we all get sometimes, like we don't quite fit in. But, okay, let's go back to the science stuff for a sec. We talked about the possibility that life actually started somewhere else.
Right, that whole panspermia idea.
But what if we actually, made contact with intelligent aliens? Not just microbes, but, actual beings. What do you think would happen?
Oh, man, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Scientists and philosophers have been debating that for ages.
And science fiction writers?
Oh, totally. It's hard to say for sure what the impact would be. I mean, it could be a huge unifying moment for humanity. Like, wow, we're not alone.
Yeah, everyone on Earth coming together.
Exactly. But on the other hand, it could also trigger a lot of fear and division. Like, how do different cultures and nations react?
Right. Would we even see ourselves as Earthlings first? Or would all the old divisions get even worse? It's kind of scary to think about, actually.
It is. And then there's the technology aspect. If they can travel between stars, I mean, their technology would be mind-blowing.
Right. Way beyond anything we can even imagine right now.
Exactly. It could completely revolutionize everything from energy to medicine to, well, space travel itself.
It's crazy to even try and wrap your head around it.
Yeah.
But even if we never actually meet any other intelligent life out there, the fact that we're even looking.
What's that say about us?
Exactly. It says something about who we are as humans.
Yeah, totally. It speaks to our curiosity, this need to explore and push the boundaries.
It's like what drove our ancestors to sail across oceans and explore new lands.
Exactly. We're explorers at heart.
And maybe that feeling of being an alien, of not belonging, maybe it's actually what pushes us to do those things, to grow and discover.
I like that. It's like a driving force.
It is. Okay, but let's switch gears a little bit. We talked about the scientific side of things.
Yeah.
But what about the biblical perspective on being an alien?
Yeah, that's interesting too. Like we mentioned before, there are those texts that describe humans as aliens or sojourners in this world.
Right, saying that our true home is somewhere else.
Exactly.
So how do people usually interpret that?
Well, some people take it literally, like there's heaven and that's where we go after we die. But others see it more metaphorically.
Oh, interesting.
Like it's more about understanding that our time here is temporary and that we're always searching for something more than just the material world.
So it's not necessarily about a specific place, but more like a state of being, like longing for something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And that's something that resonates with a lot of people, even if they're not particularly religious.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's that feeling of being a small part of something much bigger, trying to find meaning in a world that can often feel kind of chaotic.
It's like we're all on this journey trying to find our way home, even if we don't know what home looks like or where to find it.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And honestly, I think that searching and questioning, being open to the unknown, that's what makes life so interesting.
It's like embracing that alien perspective. Helps us connect more deeply with ourselves and everything around us.
Totally. It's about realizing that we're all part of this huge cosmic tapestry, connected in ways we might not even understand.
And that can be both humbling and amazing at the same time. This whole conversation is really making me rethink my own experiences of feeling like an outsider.
Oh, yeah.
There have definitely been times when I felt like I just didn't belong.
Yeah.
But maybe looking back, those were the times that pushed me to grow the most.
It's often those uncomfortable moments that force us to step outside our comfort zones, and that's where the real growth happens.
And that's when we learn to appreciate the beauty of all the different perspectives out there.
Mm.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I'm seeing things in a whole new light.
Hmm.
But before we wrap up, I want to go back to that question the outline asks at the end, the one about what does being an alien mean to you?
Ah, yes. That's a big one. And it's something we each have to answer for ourselves.
It is.
But I think taking the time to really ponder that question, it can lead to some amazing insights about who we are and what we truly value.
It's like a personal invitation to explore our own sense of belonging, right? And our own search for meaning in a universe that's full of wonder. Wow, we've really gone deep on this one. We started with, like, aliens in space, then feeling like an outsider right here on Earth, and then that whole spiritual side of being an alien, too.
It's amazing how it all ties together, isn't it? And we keep coming back to this idea that maybe feeling like an outsider isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, it's like it can actually be a good thing, right? Helping us to grow and change, and reminding us that we're all connected to something much bigger.
Absolutely. And the outline ends with that question, what does being an alien mean to you? Such a great way to wrap things up, I think.
It is. It makes you think about everything we've talked about, but like on a personal level.
Yeah.
So for you, what does being an alien mean?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's about being open to new experiences, always learning and growing, and remembering that we're all part of this incredible universe.
That's beautiful. It's about finding that connection, even when we feel different. For me, I think it's about challenging myself, pushing myself outside my comfort zone, because that's when I really learn and discover who I am.
It's those uncomfortable moments that really shape us, right?
They do. And, it's been so great exploring all these different ideas with you. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on things.
Me too. It's been a fascinating conversation.
So, to everyone listening, don't be afraid to embrace your inner alien. Go out there and explore, ask questions, and connect with the world in new ways.
You might be surprised what you discover about yourself and the universe around you.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. It's been a truly mind-expanding journey.